done Bombay Mahabaleshwar in 2 hours?
2 hours 47 minutes.
The editor of Autocar India.
Hormazd Sorabjee.
Hormazd Sorabjee, editor of Autocar India.
See, I still remember the icon.
For the first time anyone saw it was on our cover.
Incredible.
So that was the way we launched it, with a bang.
Right.
And my dad indulged me and started letting me steer sitting on his lap. You can feel the speed down the straight. One weapon we had in our pocket was content.
If I was in your shoes, 100% I'd be like, okay, come on, we should sell cars, we should provide services.
It's very difficult to make money in this market. I mean, we never had the luxury of having huge investment in. So, there's an old Chinese saying, find a job that you love and you'll never work a day in your life.
Absolutely.
Beyond the Dream is a podcast brought to you by Brago Business, where we interview people from different walks of life who have one thing in common. They never gave up on their dreams.
Hi everyone, welcome to episode 7 of Beyond the Dream. Today I'm super excited to have Hormazd Sorabjee. I'm going to call him Hormazd Uncle because I'll explain through the course of this entire conversation. Too many connections and I've really grown up in and around him. Hormazd Uncle, thanks so much for taking the weekend out.
No, pleasure to be here.
You could be driving to Mahabaleshwar right now.
Yeah, well, not in this rain, so...
We have to clarify a few things, which I'm going to do. I think let's start off with clarifying that first. Aditi tells me you've done Bombay Mahabaleshwar in 2 hours.
No, not 2 hours. Definitely not 2 hours.
I had to.
But it was 2 hours 47 minutes. That's my record. Yeah.
Okay.
That is a long time back, 2008, when there was less traffic. Roads were quite different then.
Yeah.
So it was good. BMW 530D, a diesel.
Damn.
Yeah, it was quite a drive. But you get to get those sweet spots when there's no traffic.
Correct.
It was just lucky.
Correct. No, those ghats can be an incredible drive, but I think it's all spoiled now. Now it's impossible to.
Well, the ghat is still good. That last 40 kilometers, if the surface is good, still not used. Really, that's the best part of the drive.
Correct.
Though Nahi doesn't like it, but I do.
I heard she doesn't step into the car with you when you're in that mode.
Well, she's now slightly used to it, so not so bad.
No, awesome. Really, again, thank you so much for taking the time. I think the idea really behind what we're trying to do here is talk to people that have unabashedly gone out and just made their dreams happen. And I really thought of you very early on when we started this, because really it's something that was the career and the company that you've built was extremely, untraditional and something that you come from a house of professionals, a family of extremely high performing professionals. So to kind of, break out of that and do everything that you've done and really follow a passion.
Yeah,
which,
that's right.
I think a lot of people grow up when they're young and they love something, but it kind of falls by the wayside.
Yeah.
But you found a way to not only stay true to it, but also build something incredibly successful. So I really just wanted to start off by just talking about your early life and family and how all of that kind of came into fruition.
Well, I think, we were not in a business family. So my dad was a professional. He was a very successful lawyer, as everyone knows.
Yeah.
One of the finest in India.
Correct.
I mean, if you see his family also, really, he didn't follow what his dad did. Though apparently his father and grandfather dealt in cars. Grandfather was a car dealer. So maybe I've got some of those, those genes have kind of, come through.
Yeah.
But point is, he didn't follow it.
Yeah.
And I think, he was very passionate about his work. And, somewhere there you realize that, you've got to love what you do.
Yeah.
And I think, then the rest just follows. So, there's an old Chinese saying, find a job that you love and you'll never work a day in your life.
Absolutely.
And I think that's what it is. So I think, honestly, it was quite different because no one in the family really loved cars. Definitely not my dad. My sister, for sure, no. We should not talk about her driving. And, my brother was a little fond of it.
Yeah.
But clearly, I think I just, it was odd because a friend of mine, gave me a copy of Autocar.
Right.
The UK one in the 70s.
Sure.
And reading those magazines, one just got hooked. So I think it just became a complete passion and an obsession.
Right.
And I think also what kind of maybe fueled it was holidays in Mahabaleshwar.
Right.
And my dad indulged me and started letting me steer sitting on his lap. And then eventually, when my feet could touch the pedals, I would drive myself on polo ground. I think all of us.
Crazy.
Grew
Everyone's
up,
done some initiation over
yeah, so everyone's, and our family has kind of grown up driving on polo ground.
Correct.
And I think maybe, that sense of control, being able to control a car at such a young age.
Yeah.
It was a polo ground, as we know, now it's shut for cars, was an open field,
Correct.
completely deserted, just the best place for anyone to learn how to drive.
Correct.
You couldn't hit anything.
Yeah.
You couldn't lose control. So really perfect. And then, it was also gravel. So then at that time, you learned how to slide the car, drift the car over there.
Yeah.
Our Fiats, that's what we did. Got, even pictures of that.
Right.
So I think, I think really that's really what gave me the bug.
Yeah. No, that's super interesting. So when, I'm assuming you caught that bug, and it's pretty interesting that it happened through really a personal experience or just a joint family experience. But, like it wasn't necessarily something strategic, like, okay, you just fell in love with something.
Yeah.
How did you decide that you wanted to make this a career, and how did that how was that received at home? Like,
it was quite accidental actually.
Okay.
Because, then as I grew up, I started rallying, taking the family cars for rallies, winning some events.
Was that a thing? Like, was there like a system for?
I mean, it was, let's say rallying was actually pretty good in the Mumbai area because, there were roads available. I mean, you will not believe that we would have, let's say, a competitive section or a flat out section starting in Navi Mumbai at the London Pilsner, let's say factory. And can imagine from there driving to Uran, it was totally deserted. I'm talking about in the 80s. And we had the roads at that time. Now we don't.
Yeah.
So rallying is completely changed from what it used to be. At that time, you just took your Fiat, put a seat belt in it. I drove with bench seat, steering column shift, and, went rallying and, even won quite a few prizes. So I think really, so I was really quite involved in that. Then I used to work in a garage.
Yeah.
At Nani Marshall, and then Midtown Motors, just fixing, tinkering with the cars. And as a result, never ended up going to college.
Right.
Yeah. So
no, I didn't know that.
Yeah. So I think my college attendance was very weak, and I was in Xavier's, which is quite strict on attendance. And they didn't let me do my final year.
Oh, no.
Yeah, that's right. So then I just dropped out of college.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. And then I think I was doing photography also on a professional level at that time. And then I think the whole getting into the cars really happened by accident.
Sure.
A friend of mine said another friend was looking at someone who could join him starting a car magazine.
Okay.
It was the Indian Auto Journal at that time. The editor was Gautam Sen. He asked me, will you join me in this?
Right.
And, that was India's first proper car magazine.
Right.
First issue was September 1986, which I was very much a part of. And, since then, I've been involved with car magazines, media, and everything to do with cars as a result of it.
That was still, so when you professionally started out, it was just a different company, but it was still very much like around media and journalism with regards to the auto
absolutely
industry,
yeah.
Right?
So it was another media company.
Yeah.
It was Business Press, which had a flagship magazine called Imprint in those days.
Right.
This was in Cuff Parade.
Right.
Everything was in black and white at that time. There was no color. Everything was done manually.
Yeah.
It was a different world altogether.
Correct.
Nothing digital at all. And so I was with that from 1986 to 1991.
Right.
And then I joined Business India, Ashok Advani.
Right.
And we launched Auto India. And we launched it in style, full color. And that immediately shot up to become India's top-selling auto magazine.
Understood.
And that really kind of, and at that time also, the whole car industry had opened up. The car industry opened up in 1993. It was delicensed. So you had a lot of companies coming in. So it was a great time. A lot of content. You had Ford coming in, GM coming in, Hyundai coming in the 90s.
Correct.
And that's when I was, with Auto India.
Right.
Kind of really built a strong connect with the industry at that time.
I understand.
And then, unfortunately, Business India went through a lot of financial problems.
Yeah.
So we were forced to leave. And at that time, I was looking at what to do next. And there were Haymarket, which are the owners of Autocar UK, were looking at getting into India.
Got it.
At that time, Lord Heseltine, Michael Heseltine, who's the owner of Haymarket, wanted to expand internationally.
Right.
He'd just given up politics and come back into his business.
Okay.
And he had the vision to look at other markets.
Right.
So one of his colleagues, a good friend of mine now, still Jeremy Vaughan, came down. We had some discussions.
Right.
And then when everything was going, belly up with Business India, I called them up and say, hey, guys, are you still interested?
Yeah.
And they said, yeah, sure, we are. So then we started talking.
Got it.
But at the same time, not many people know we were being pursued by, a German group, Motor Press, very powerful group,
Okay.
to launch Motor und Sport, which is one of Europe's leading magazines in German.
Right.
And they were both kind of wooing me over there.
Nice.
And finally, I just, I just felt, Haymarket, just same kind of thought process. Being English would have definitely helped.
Right.
Translating from German would have been a nightmare, so we could have used their content.
Correct.
Finally went with the Haymarket, and that's how Autocar was launched. And first issue September '99.
Yeah.
We are now 26 years old.
No, I
was
still have
amazing.
this. I think it was at my house. I still remember the icon being on the cover.
Yeah, that's right. I mean, that was an iconic cover of the Ford icon because it was a world exclusive.
Correct.
That car was made for India and for certain maybe export markets.
Right.
And no one had seen it. For the first time anyone saw it was on our cover.
Incredible.
So that was the way we launched it, with a bang, and with the kind of, and that we've maintained that. We're always known for our cutting edge news reviews.
Correct.
And since then, again, we've never looked back. It was tough in the initial years.
Yeah.
So, but I think we just consistent, good quality editorial. It just kind of paid off.
Yeah. No, I think thank you for that. I think that was incredible summary of a long
journey.
period of time.
Yeah.
I want to dig a little bit deeper into different parts, right? I think there was the interesting part is before you started Autocar, and again, for me, even though I've spent so much time around you, this is news to me, right?
Yeah.
There was a good almost maybe 10 years before Autocar started.
Well, 86 to 99, so more than that. Yeah,
more than 10 years.
So I wasn't full-time with either of them, because I was also doing parallelly professional photography as well.
Right.
Because really the money came from there, not from the magazines.
Right.
And that's really kind of paid all the bills.
Right.
Photography is a lucrative profession.
Right.
And it still is. So I think it was a balance of both. So I was never full-time into either.
Got it.
But very much engaged. But then, then this becomes your own baby, your own gig, and then everything changes.
Yeah. No, fantastic. I want to just talk a little bit about, that maybe just that transition from doing stuff freelance or doing stuff, kind of in different buckets to then running a business pretty much end to end. How did you go about, and again, doing a media company, which isn't necessarily a typical dhanda approach.
Yeah.
If someone would have maybe done maintenance and repairs of cars, the 90s have come, the cars are exploding, people that need maintenance, or even selling and building out dealerships, since you have these very tight relationships. Is there a reason why, apart from obviously you having that experience prior, is there a reason why you chose to go the media route?
Well, because I had been in media earlier.
Sure.
And I had experience of the media,
right.
10 plus years.
Right.
I had the opportunity. Everything was falling in line.
I understand.
We had Haymarket chasing me. So technically we were a startup at that time.
Yeah.
Office really was for a long time the garage at Nepean Road.
Correct.
Under West Hill.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, so that's where the first employee also sat there for a while.
Right.
Then we found our own office, which was again a very small office in Raghuvanshi Mills, not what you see today. It was really, it was like a shoebox in a bigger office.
Right.
And I think we started off with just 6 people.
Okay.
And then just grew from there. And then, we constantly shifted office as we expanded, getting bigger.
Yeah.
And now here we are sitting in what is our biggest office ever.
It's amazing. You just showed us around and it's incredible.
Yeah.
So.
I think what was important is, you have to cut your cloth to suit your length. I mean, we never had the luxury of having huge investment in. So we grew organically.
Right.
So we never had one massive big chunk of investment and then, you just
go crazy with it.
So go crazy with it. But that could have helped, for us to grow faster.
Yeah.
But I think we did grow organically. And I think what we focused on and didn't compromise on was our content,
And
that's what people, we have a lot of loyal readers, all the way going back more than 20 years.
for sure.
So I think that's how we grew.
Yeah.
It wasn't, as I said, very fast. It was organic.
Correct.
But then we started growing, and frankly, there was not too much competition, dare I say.
Sure.
We quite.
No, you were a huge first mover, right?
Yeah. No, there were others. There was Overdrive, which still exists at that time. There was Auto India, which I was at that time, that had shut down.
Right.
There was the older Indian Auto also was there. That's also shut down. So,
Sure.
So I mean, anyway, the whole magazine business has changed right
Yeah.
now. But at that time, magazines were a mainstay. They were really kind of, there was no real internet at that time.
Correct.
Online wasn't that big.
Correct.
So magazines really flourished at that point. And, I mean, everyone would wait for that
Next copy
next
coming up.
copy. And, when we knew sometimes the copy had hit the stands, or when, advertisers would tell us at the back of the book, they knew the copy had hit the stand when they start getting called. We had a very flourishing classified section at the back.
Okay.
Yeah, to sell, it's like a marketplace.
Right.
With phone numbers and everything. So
Correct.
they started getting calls, they knew that the magazine had hit the stand. So it was really, a kind of
that's so interesting.
The go-to product at that point.
Absolutely.
It was a magazine.
Right. No, so let's delve deeper into all of these different aspects, right? I think the first thing we spoke about is just the people and how that evolved to one person at West Hill, and then the next office having 5 to 6 people. How did you go about building your team? Because with content, everything comes down to taste, a fundamental understanding of the market, being able to represent that effectively.
Yeah.
How did you go about recruiting your team, and how was your organization really structured?
So I think, I have to say that, though I'm the face of the magazine and the business, I really have to say it could not have been possible without the team I've had throughout.
Right.
I think even right from the start, I had really a tight team. And one of them, Shapur Kotwal, is still with me right from the beginning and even from Auto India days. And then we've got some other guys, Eldred, who's been our kind of graphic designer.
Yeah.
He's also been with us for a long time. So, people have stayed. I think the key really is, for me, I have one thought, you get hired for talent, but you get fired for attitude. You just cannot come here with a certain attitude. You've got to be number one, a team player.
Sure.
A lot of people come here, with their own agendas, and really they don't last very long. Even though they are very, very talented people. And we've had cases of that, really good, talented guys, becoming prima donnas and then
what do you mean by that? Can you give us an example? Or?
So I think, it's, I mean, for example, they wouldn't work with the team. They would only take instructions from me. They wouldn't acknowledge any of the team members, kind of do their own thing. So that doesn't work really.
Of course.
It has to be a team setup. We have to work within the team. And I think what's amazing is that, we have a really flat structure over here.
Yeah.
And the teamwork is phenomenal. The camaraderie is fantastic. And anyone who's worked in Autocar can tell you that.
Right.
So, I mean, there's a special vibe you get over here, which you don't get in any other organization.
No, you can feel it when you walk into the office.
Yeah.
You can totally imagine it.
So I think, people have moved on for better opportunities, and good luck to them. We've continue to have good relations with them. But, whenever we chat, they miss the fun over here.
100%.
And, so I think a lot of them have also come back. So I think, I'm very proud of the kind of culture we've built over here.
Yeah.
It is a bit crazy and chaotic. I think we could do with a lot more process. It's more passion driven than process driven.
Sure.
And I think, going forward, when you grow it, you have to build more process into your organization,
right,
which is one thing, we haven't really done to that extent. But, it's just been driven on this, underlying passion and everyone pulling in the same direction just to produce a great automotive media product.
Yeah, I think with something like this, that passion for the end product really binds everyone together, which is
exactly,
I guess, so important. And, we spoke a little bit about HR, but how did you approach the business model side? I know, and I'm asking this from the perspective of, you've seen this whole industry evolve from literally the start of how people consume information and down to what it is today, where we were just talking about how you're up to a video a day. How has that change been for you? I remember even when I was at your house, when you just started your Twitter account and I used to always see you like really
Yeah.
fervently on the application. How did you manage that entire transition? Because that's massive for
Yeah,
someone like you. And how did the business model also change? Like, I'm sure it evolved like multiple times over.
No, it was a big change, but I think one kind of weapon we had in our pocket was content. And when I say content is uh, why we are very proud of that, and no one can replicate that, is because it's built not overnight, but with 30 years of deep relationships in the industry. So we are first source content. We're not internet content.
Correct.
What we write is not necessarily, a lot of people write from what they see on the internet. We speak to engineers, we speak to people deep in the organization who kind of give us a lot of input, access, and information which we break then.
Correct.
Now, when you have that, the ability then to deploy it on multiple platforms, it can, from a magazine to social media or video, is a lot easier. You just have to adapt to how that format works.
Okay.
Yeah, how the platform works.
Nice.
But I think once you have, the power of content,
sure,
then it becomes a lot easier to kind of transition to a lot of these the new age digital platforms that there are. So that's I think been one of our biggest, and of course I think the new platforms have in fact even played to our strengths.
Right.
If there's breaking news, you don't have to wait for a month. You can put it out immediately.
Sure.
Because very often in the earlier days, we'd be sitting on news, a monthly magazine, but a newspaper might have broken it before us.
I hear you.
But here now we can do it immediately.
Right.
So I think that's, it's played to our strength of being first with the news, breaking news, and giving that, first content or the first source content.
No, I think that's super interesting because today everyone is a content creator, but it may not be as deeply rooted in the right information, coming from the right sources.
Yeah.
It's secondary or tertiary information that kind of just gets regurgitated. And there's no real moat.
No, that's right. And I think today a lot of what's happening, unfortunately, a lot of people, a lot of influencers, they don't bother to find out the facts or verify them. To be honest, they don't have the ability to do that because they don't know the people which they can verify them with.
Right.
Like right now, this current thing is this whole E20 controversy, slightly overblown.
Sure.
A lot of it overblown by influencers because they're playing to the narrative of everyone wanting to say that, this is the worst thing that could have happened to us. And when they say that, they earn credibility by saying, if we say it's not so bad, we get panned by saying, oh, you're pandering to the government,
right.
It's really bad for us. So there's a narrative going. And unfortunately, it kind of, it feeds itself by, people giving, playing to that narrative. But, so I think what we find is that, if as long as we're as fact-based as possible, I think that's what we're going to stand out in this massive clutter of content generation and content factories that are out there, which again we have to compete with as well.
I'm sure. I'm sure.
Yeah.
No, so that's super interesting. I think what you said really stood out to me is that you didn't necessarily worry too much about how the evolution of how people were consuming that content mattered. You focused on being deep, getting the right factual information, and then just adapting to those channels.
And I think also our timing was good. We had to be early.
Yeah.
I remember we invested in video very early. I remember reading that, Reliance were coming into telecom, Jio, and, 4G at that time would be the big thing.
Correct.
And clearly I said, look, if these guys are coming, they're going to really democratize data, make it really cheap, which they have.
Absolutely.
And really today data rates are some of the cheapest in the world.
Yeah.
And, we've seen what Jio has done, up and
down
the whole market.
100%.
So I had that kind of thinking, like, if these guys come in, they're going to really, break the market and make data really available easy. And so then, with cheap data, video streaming is that much more accessible, easier, cheaper, free. Everyone's got it. So we built our YouTube channel quite early on.
Right.
And, so it's still, now we're about 2.5 million followers, which is not bad.
But I've done like 1 billion views. I've been doing studying before coming to speak with you, which is incredible.
Yeah, that's right. Absolutely.
And I'm sure your watch rates are quite significant because for me, it feels like a TV show. Like whenever I'm like on YouTube.
Yeah, I think, what we've seen is now in this YouTube boom, we've got a lot of other creators, in fact, who even overtaken us.
Right.
But clearly, we are not anymore in the numbers or the views game. We just want to give the content people want to see, because I think, they'll all come back to us to get that absolute genuine information. And that's what we want to, deliver.
Correct.
Something that's as genuine as possible,
Yeah.
not something that just gets you
Flashy
views,
and-
not something that just gets you numbers, or not something that's playing to the narrative for that everyone wants to hear or likes to hear.
Sure.
Which is what a lot of people do.
I hear you. No, we find ourselves, even though we can't even compare, but we end up doing that a lot.
Yeah.
Because we have so we do social media for a lot of customers at Brego Business. And that just naturally your mind just goes there because it's easy.
Yeah, that's right.
A quick win.
Yeah.
So I can see that. You want to talk to us a little bit, Uncle, about how was the business model? Like, how I understand, okay, I'm subscribed to a monthly magazine. It's got information that I'm really excited to read about. How has that evolved to where we are today, and how did that change?
So I think at that time, our main source of revenue was print.
Right.
Our magazine was quite expensive. So unlike a lot of other magazines, we actually made money on our cover price.
Wow.
At that time, the model was you lost money on the cover price.
Advertising.
And the advertising picked it up. But there we made sure that, and it kind of put pressure on us to deliver a certain level of content so that people would pay money.
Yeah.
I mean, today we are 200 rupees. We started at 40 rupees.
Sure.
And there are not too many 200 rupee magazines around of our kind
Correct.
of,
Depth
and circulation, which is still there. Of course, the circulation has come down from what it was.
Right.
I mean, we were really peaking pre-COVID, but then it's gone down.
Really?
Never came back up.
Do you mind me asking you what those numbers were? Like at the top, what were like offline magazines?
So I think we would have been around maybe 100,000.
Wow.
Now, we are down to around, I would say 50, 55.
Sure.
So, but what we have is a very strong subscriber base.
Right.
And, it's, I think what people don't realize is that subscriber base is a very evolved consumer, and I think, targeting that is for us super, super important, because they are seen also as influencers in their own peer group, the experts, more discerning,
You're very right.
stuff like that. So I think we are, so we are really proud that our subscription base has been really strong. It's in fact even gone up a bit.
Right.
Because people may not be getting it on the newsstands. I think what really dealt a body blow was a lot of the outlets just vanished after COVID.
Sure.
So you would see street vendors, selling magazines. They've all disappeared.
Right.
And naturally, when that disappears, your distribution channel kind of shrinks.
Yeah.
You automatically shrink as well.
Yeah.
So I think it's been a challenge, and I think it's, what do you say, difficult to kind of get back to those earlier numbers.
Right. Okay. So I have a couple of questions. So it obviously started with that, and I understand that that's still a mainstay of the business model, but are there other ways in which we monetize different aspects?
Yeah, that's right.
of
So
the business?
I think, so we had subscriptions, we had advertising, we do a lot of events.
Right.
We do a lot of bespoke events. We create a lot of IPs.
Yeah.
In fact, we created the Autocar Performance Show, which ran all the way till COVID again from 2005. So I think we did a good about 13, 14 years of that with an annual show. But again, after COVID, things changed.
Right.
And I think also the concept of these events, kind of went to smaller, more bespoke events. So we've got, some great properties. We've got the Mercedes-Benz Classic Car Rally, which we've been doing since uninterrupted since 2012. Even in the COVID years, we managed to pull it off.
Correct.
And we've got now the Modern Classic Rally. So we've got a lot of properties then which are very monetizable that way.
Right.
But, again, they are very, very credible, very aspirational kind of properties that we've done. And, a lot of people want to associate with them.
No, it feels a lot more exclusive. I think that's definitely,
that's right.
And I feel like as someone who's viewed this outside in, it's not like I'm obsessed with cars or anything like that, but there's a sense of being a purist when you're associated with Autocar, or whether you're a reader, whether you're in the brand, whatever it may be. I think maybe that stems from you.
Yeah.
But that's super interesting. Okay. The only reason I kind of want to talk about monetization, because it feels like, I'm Sindhi and Marwari. So, it's like, maybe if I was in your shoes, 100% I'd be like, okay, come on, we should sell cars, we should, provide services, we should just go the whole gamut. would love to understand, and I'm sure you've had thousands of those opportunities. Like, has other stuff come up to you that you said no to along the way?
Yeah, I mean, see, there's a lot of things which we say no to from our editorial principles and guidelines. For example, right from the beginning, we never gave advertising on a right-hand side page. You know, that was meant for editorial. Sometimes we lost a lot of advertising, but we said only left-hand side pages advertising, and we haven't moved from that.
Right.
Recently, only as recent as this month, there was a brand which wanted to, let's say, put it bluntly, buy our front cover.
Sure. Sure.
So, in fact, we got a nice picture of all magazines with a Skoda on the cover. Obviously, it's a commercial deal,
right?
But obviously, we didn't do it. So I think these are the certain things that were absolutely red flags and guidelines. Like, cover is sacrosanct. That cannot be touched, cannot be bought.
Yeah.
I mean, even a tab sticking out because it of an inside page, because it influences the cover, we don't have. Yeah, we stopped. We used to have what we call reverse gatefolds on the cover, but people complain that the cover would bend.
Yeah.
So we've stopped that now.
So
I think it's at the end of the day, it's just the point is for us, the reader, our audience is absolute top priority.
Right. But isn't it? I hear you completely, and the reason I want to spend a little bit of time on this is because it just goes so, like, it's opposite grain of how most people think in business.
So obviously, I think I'm coming back to the point on monetization. How do we make money? So I think now there are a lot of digital assets we have which are making a lot of money. So we have our YouTube is one huge. Let's say a money spinner because we've got the volume. So we do what we call a lot of advertorials or branded content, and it's kind of, marked that way.
Correct.
Some people don't even do that right now. So you don't know whether it's, but we have that absolute distinction.
Right.
So that's what we do. I think, let's say again, our Instagram, we're about 1.5 million.
Right.
So that's again an opportunity. Facebook, we are 2.5 million. So all our digital assets are pretty big, and we are sweating that and monetizing that. Again, as we said, we have more events and IPs. And also what has happened right now, because our website is growing.
Yeah.
And it's really, we're getting into lead generation.
Okay.
So, so then we get leads, and then we...
that's super interesting. You pass on those leads to car companies.
That's right. Yeah, that's right.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
How does that work?
So I think it's a huge business model. In fact, you've got huge companies like Car Trade doing it. They even listed because they do it so well.
Correct.
They're the absolute giants in that space.
Right.
And really, they're really at a different level.
Sure.
So now we are slowly getting into that space. Not slowly, I think we're getting into it pretty fast.
Interesting.
And looking at that as actually the way you can scale up the whole business.
Right.
I think the only way you can scale up the business, there's digital, there's Instagram, but there's only so much you can do.
Right.
There are only so many videos you can make a month. But online, on your website, the scalability is far higher.
Right.
And, with lead generation, with advertising, and just with your traffic increasing.
Of course.
It's just a function of revenue. The higher the traffic you have, the more revenue that automatically comes. So that's where we are looking to scale the business.
I hear you. There's this, I want to talk about a couple of more things. That's really, really interesting. I think that your gateway of content into commerce really kind of makes so much sense. I want to talk about a couple of things. Just how did you go about funding this entire business? Because in my mind, you've bootstrapped all of this completely.
Yeah, so
you've not raised external money.
No. For 25 years, we didn't raise external money. I mean, we started off with a capital of, I think, 1 crore.
Right.
89. That's it.
Crazy. Right.
And, and then the business has just grown. And then right now we got acquired by Spinny.
Right.
So obviously with that, I think our future is, going to be just exponentially bigger.
Absolutely.
Because it's the most phenomenal partnership we could have.
Sure.
Absolutely fantastic company, very focused, doing brilliantly in its space, absolutely brilliantly.
Right.
Same brand values of quality, of, how do I say, reliability, credibility, all that, they, everyone, a lot of people I know, you get You get a car through Spinny, just the whole process is so transparent.
Seamless.
It's just very seamless.
Correct.
So I think so those values really match.
Right.
And I think for them also, they didn't have content, so it made sense, for us. So the marriage has just been absolutely complementary. And more than that, it's really the kind of organization Spinny is, which is just phenomenal. The people, the leadership, all the practices,
which is, I think,
just amazing.
For someone who spends so much time, you could have run your business so differently in terms of commercial exploitation. You've kind of stuck true to just being reader first, information first, fact first. So for you to find a marriage with another company that is all about commerce, it must be incredible. I'm sure,
it is. But honestly, for them, it is about commerce, but their success comes also from, customer first.
Sure.
So you have to remember that. So I think, when you have that kind of philosophy in mind or their priority in mind, I think that's when, that the marriage will work and it will always be complementary.
And did this just happen randomly? Like the way Haymarket was after you? And
No. I think, it happened over a period. I mean, I think for me, it was a call to take that, there was a limit to how much you can grow organically.
Right.
You needed a partner or, someone to take it to the next level.
Correct.
And that's what we're going to do. So I think it was just a function of that.
A matter of time.
And so I think, the whole idea is now, this is really Autocar 2.0 in a sense.
Sure.
To take it to, let's say exponentially make it bigger.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Keeping all the brand values intact there.
Got it. I want to talk to you a little bit about the auto industry as a whole. And really from the perspective of someone who's been super deep. You've been at the time where we had no cars on the street to today. It's, just a plethora of options for everybody.
Yeah.
What is working in the industry? What isn't working? From the perspective of consumers getting what they want across various segments. And I'll explain what I mean by this. I mean, like, there's a majority of our country can't afford even having a four-wheeler today.
Yeah.
Our infrastructure doesn't necessarily support that. Last mile is completely, kind of broken. And how does that move from the lower segment to the mid segment to the high segment in our country? And because you get like really a bird's eye view into this, and I don't know if my question is really making sense, but what I'm just trying to understand is how are companies thinking about the consumer in India today?
So I think, it's actually a very unique market. Firstly, you've got to see, talking about affordability, last mile, all that. You've got the two-wheeler market, which is largest in the world or second largest, if you depends on what you count in China as a two-wheeler. Some of the ones without registration are counted as two-wheelers. So, but India is, the top market for two-wheelers in the country.
Right.
It's absolutely massive. We are the third largest car market, over 4 million cars. So clearly, because of our population, you get these numbers.
Yeah.
But if you see in terms of penetration, still very low.
Correct.
I think, we are about maybe 30, 35 people per 1,000 cars.
Right.
Let's say 35 cars per 1,000 vehicles, car owners. So that's really not much at all.
Correct.
So I think there is room to grow. But I think clearly, the Indian market is not an easy market for a lot of people, a lot of manufacturers. I think we've got to see the structure of the market.
Yeah.
It's really been a very, very cost-sensitive market. So you've had, today, it's very interesting, 94% of the market, only 6 are controlled by 6 car makers.
Okay.
So, and that two groups, you've got Toyota, Suzuki as one, you've got the Koreans, Hyundai, Kia as one, you've got the Indians, Mahindra, Tata as one.
Sure.
Everyone else is marginal because they can't hack it.
Right.
They just can't make it work because it's very difficult to kind of make money in this market.
Right.
You need to have deep investments, a deep dealer network. You really have to commit a lot of money before you can make money here. So there are no half measures. Now, what has happened as a result of that, to be honest, we really don't have too much choice. If you see, today you want to buy a sedan, you really don't know what to do. And people who want, hanging on to their Skoda Superbs because there's no new Skoda Superb and there's nothing equivalent coming either. You've got a Camry, which is fine, but it's around, close to 45, 50 lakhs.
Sure.
So really not much. Everything's going towards SUVs. The hatchback segment is shrinking.
Yeah.
So really even at the lower end, it's actually shrinking because those cars themselves have become expensive. We've had a lot of regulation in the past, which has pushed the prices of cars up.
Right.
So we've had emission regulations. We've had, 3 of them in the last many years, or even 4. You've got something which you have to reduce the pollutants from your tailpipe, and another regulation where you have to reduce the carbon dioxide.
Right.
Because that's for global warming.
Sure.
You kind of
That's
tackling with all this, it's very expensive and costly. So for the manufacturers, you can't have a big spread of models because you have to spend or upgrade only those models which sell in big numbers.
Right.
So the models which don't sell in big numbers, it makes no sense, and they kill that.
Yeah.
So with every big regulation change, you find a culling or a lot of models going out of the market because it's just not worth their while to upgrade it to the new regulations.
No, I hear you.
So really the choice is very limited right now if you look at it. Yeah, that's true. So you've got certain very competitive segments like the compact SUV segments where you have a huge amount of players.
Yeah.
But hatchback segments, it's fewer and fewer.
Yeah.
Entry level segment, you only have an Alto, but that Alto, what used to be 2.5 lakhs, and now 4.5 lakhs.
Right.
So, even there the prices are getting expensive. And at the entry segment, what's happening is people don't want these cars for that money of 4.5 lakhs. They say, why should I spend it on a tiny hatchback? They might even spend it on a pre-owned car.
Right.
They might get a second-hand Swift.
Yeah.
So, the whole structure is changing. But what's interesting is that there's been a shift and people are spending more on cars. And that sweet spot is now between the 10 and 20 lakh segment.
Right.
It used to be the sub 10 lakh segment.
Sure.
So, it's shifted up a bit. But it's a very tough market.
Right.
And, as I said, the strong are getting stronger and the weaker are getting weaker.
No, I think it's maybe a function of even like there's a huge split in our country also in terms of the people that have wealth and disposable income.
That's true.
People
That's
that
true.
don't.
Absolutely.
And it's super interesting. That's probably why like platforms like a Spinny and will do incredibly.
Exactly. I think, they're very well placed in this kind of scenario where, the entry level car is now a pre-owned car.
Correct.
And there's a big market to kind of tap into that.
Yeah. No, so just, you mentioned that it's extremely hard to make money in this space. So who's really making money? Is it the government? Is it the manufacturers?
Well, the government's definitely making money the way they tax the cars.
Right.
Yeah, so the taxation is crazy.
Yeah.
But I think it's really the big ones who are making money. Obviously, Maruti is making money. Mahindra's making money. Tata's making money. Though Tata, has its own issues as well. But the Koreans are making money. So they're all making money,
No, but if I must say we'll come to electric and that whole opportunity. We touch upon that. But if I'm, say, an upstart and I love cars just like you, and I want to get into this industry, like where should I look to start? Should I be an OEM? Should I think about some crazy designs and sell them to one of these larger companies?
Well, I think firstly, again, it's not really an industry anyone would get into right now. And that's why a lot of people say that, the big business groups like Adani and Ambani's, they'd never get into making cars because the margins are so pathetic on them.
Sure.
That's what I hear. They just wouldn't because, why would you get into something that is such a low margin business?
Right.
It's a very, very low margin business right now because it's very, very competitive.
Do you know what those margins are?
Well, I think, let's say, a good margin is around 11, 12%, up to 14%, but that's all dropped right now.
Sure.
So I think even Volkswagen, which was, doing on 6%, is now dropped to 3%.
Wow.
So it's quite challenging. So, you had companies like Porsche, which were really, high double digit, let's say profit margins, but even they've dropped because this whole electrification has kind of, suck the guts out of your cash machine in car companies, which was the ICE engine.
Right.
So, it's the good old ICE engine which made the money and that funded the future, which was electrics.
Right.
And now the Chinese also are super competitive in electrics. And just by their sheer scale and competitiveness, they're giving everyone a big fight.
Right. No. Super interesting. Can we talk about the Chinese, their entry? BYD's made a recentish entry into our country.
So BYD's made let's say they've made an entry which is not big but is very significant.
Yeah.
Because all the cars they get in, they are imports.
Yeah.
They are not locally manufactured.
Right.
But still, as an import, they are the number one imported brand in the country.
Right.
And the number one locally produced car in the country. Also, the MG Windsor is a Chinese car. So
Sure.
clearly, the Chinese are leading the electric car race.
Correct.
And more than that, they control the whole supply chain.
Right.
And ecosystem.
Right.
So all the top EV players, whether it's Tata or Mahindra, and even Maruti now, their batteries come from China.
Right.
And that really is the secret
sauce.
sauce.
No way. Okay.
Yeah, that's the secret sauce of an electric car, is your battery and your battery pack.
Correct.
So again, we have to, let's say, accept that, they're way ahead in this game, and we have a lot of catching up to do.
Yeah.
But I think, we can. We've seen some very interesting products come out from local companies,
right.
especially like Mahindra. Their new range of electrics has really
that's
made a mark. Yeah, that's right. So obviously, still a long way to go before they can be global. They're not quite there.
Yeah.
Not as, let's say, still rough edges which they have.
Sure.
You've got Tata also, which is really still the number one EV maker in the country.
Right.
By still a fair margin.
A mile, right?
Yeah, that's right. So, I think, Indian companies, they can rise to the challenge. But again, it's going to be difficult.
Yeah, for sure. Any view on companies like Ola and Ather? Ola's trying to go like the full spread of the entire ecosystem.
For me, Ola is, I think, just all talk.
Really?
And nonsensical talk at times.
Right.
And what surprises me about Ola is how investors get fooled by that company. Absolutely fooled. Company has firstly, where are the people? You always judge a company by the people.
Sure.
Who the people are, who are running core, let's say, verticals within the company, whether it's design, engineering, this, that. When you have a look, that's when I would get my confidence. You take, again, coming back to Mahindra, right now, the success is because of very, very strong leadership. In the end, people make cars and bikes, not machines.
Yeah.
So I think for me, Ola is, it's all about, I think their biggest skill is managing to, get money out of investors. And really what they've delivered right now is nothing exceptional.
Right.
You have to give it to them for the audacity and scale, which got the legacy players also to react.
Right.
So that first move which Ola did was fantastic, no doubt about that.
It kind of did shake up people, but they haven't.
Definitely, it shook people up.
Right.
But I think I just get the feeling it's kind of imploding.
Yeah. We've spoken about how large a market India might be more exciting from a two-wheeler standpoint, even for the foreseeable future, right? Where do you see a company like Bajaj kind of coming through? How do you see them evolving, changing?
No, both Bajaj and TVS, legacy companies. At the end of the day, they know the business.
Exactly.
And I think that's where their strength lies. Proper distribution, manufacturing, systems, processes. Both these companies know it. Look at TVS today.
Right.
Well, it's doing phenomenally well. They just launched another, bike, Orbiter, a very different take on a scooter.
Right.
So different from the iQube which they have right now. So Bajaj also with the Chetak right now, everyone's now struggling with rare earth magnets, which is an issue which is hampering production.
Yeah.
But when they put their mind to it, they've just shot ahead of the startups.
Right.
So Ather, I think is a company with a good approach. The guy running it, Tarun Mehta, has really got his head on his shoulders.
Sure.
Very well engineered product. Again, putting product and product quality above everything else.
Right.
I think that makes a difference. Of course, you need the funding, you need the scale, which Ola has been able to pull off, which others haven't had.
Correct.
But again, I think just seeing how Ola is squandering everything, it's a real shame. Yeah.
No, for sure. I hear you. There's a couple of points that I feel that are keeping this sector back. I think the government has a huge part to play in this. What would you like to see, or what have you seen as a common thread that you feel would increase innovation, bring more capital to this entire space. No one, as you said, you don't even, I think an industry kind of dies when new people feel like it's an impossible task to
that's
enter
right.
it.
Exactly.
Right? So what changes would you like to see at a policy level?
No,
to kind of make
that's a good point. I think what you need to do is remove, there are so many barriers to entry over here. One is taxation is one, especially as you go up.
Yeah.
So that has to be reconsidered. Then I think there are a lot of non-tariff barriers in terms of very stringent regulations on what we call, QCO, quality control orders. You have to have BIS certification for small volumes. It makes it very hard for people to come in.
Right.
Then you've got this constant regulation updates every 6 months, which is the biggest killer, I think.
Right.
What
do they change? Is it like just emissions and stuff?
So
like
there's
that,
there's emissions, there's CAFE, then there's ethanol, there's flex fuel. So you have to keep recalibrating your engines. So you've now got E20, then if it becomes E30, and then you have to recalibrate the engines.
Yeah.
So, it requires a lot of money, it requires a lot of bandwidth, and it requires a lot of resource. Now, what happens is for, let's say, a global player, as it is, they've got their plates full looking after other parts of the world.
Correct.
So they don't, even if they have the money, they don't have the time. Their engineers are caught up in other projects.
Correct.
To kind of deal with just regulation compliance for India.
Right.
Because they're constantly changing. So right now the companies that can manage it have strong R&Ds in India. You've got Maruti with a massive R&D. Hyundai is also setting up an R&D, huge one.
Right.
Then you've got, of course, the local players have an R&D. So, when you manage that, then it becomes much easier, faster, more cost effective. Because today to ask Volkswagen to get some German engineer sitting in Wolfsburg to kind of do a calibration change, it runs into millions of euros. So that's the challenge which we have right now.
Right.
But again, it's a chicken and egg situation. Why don't these people then set up a base here? Because firstly, you need the volume to do that.
Yeah.
If you don't have big volumes, it doesn't justify setting up a local engineering base or localizing the car more.
Sure.
So it's really a chicken and egg situation. I think the best step would be is to really, let's say, not have this completely really intense regulatory kind of requirements coming
or changing constantly.
Changing. Yeah. You had BS6, you had BS 6.2.3, you have E20, you have CAFE 2, CAFE 3. It's just endless.
No, incredible.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It seems I think the only ones which have it easy are the EV players.
Right. In fact, they're getting that push, right? I think that's kind of...
So EV players have it easy. But again, the EV market is not that big in India.
Yeah.
You've got other challenges of charging infrastructure, which I think is one of the biggest limiting factors.
Right.
So you can't, you've got pure EV only companies. But again, that volume still is very small in India because EV penetration in India it's double from 2.5 or 2.2% last year to around 4.5%. To close to 5% now.
Right.
But still, that's a very tiny amount.
So do you, again, like you said, like a lot of these things seem like chicken and egg. For example, if there was, do you even see that as an opportunity today? If there was just a company that said, hey, I will pick a state or, pick a district and I will just make sure.
I think, the way the auto industry is evolving in this transition period, where you're going from your engines, ICE, to multiple technologies, including hybrid.
Yeah.
No one's willing to, gamble anymore.
Right.
They want to make sure that they kind of rather hedge their bets. So a lot of people are even looking at multiple technologies, but not everyone can do that.
Yeah.
Some are even now investing in hybrid.
Right.
So again, it's not clear which direction.
Too much to...
There's too much, there's too many, there's no silver bullet right now.
I hear you.
So unless that comes, then you can go. So right now, it's just really a kind of, in a way, a wait and watch mode for a lot of people.
Right. No, thank you so much for this. I think this was supremely insightful. I think from the outside looking in, cars and the whole industry feels so glamorous and exciting.
Yeah.
But it, like, after even just talking to you, it just feels like it's going to be so hard and painful, and the government seems to really have to do more. And it seems like an opportunity. You get so many jobs. You'll be able to bring automation. You'll be able to bring manufacturing.
I mean, it is still a very big industry. There's no doubt about
Correct.
it. And, our supplier industry is actually phenomenal.
Right.
They export to all over the world.
Correct.
So we've really built a strong manufacturing base there. But
Right.
really going forward in the core technologies, batteries, let's
Yeah.
say software development,
Right.
innovations over there, we are still far behind. So that's
I-
where we need to catch up.
Just the last question. I'd be remiss if I don't bring it up. What has it been like to build this out with Nahid by your side and
No, no, I
your
mean,
two sons?
so
Would love to get
Nahid-
the role of your family.
I
how
think
that
Nahid has been an
influenced you
absolute.
and
Nahid has been an absolute pillar. I mean, honestly, it could not have been done without her because there's the bits which I don't like, which
Yeah.
are the accounts, the HR. I mean, even I remember her the way she managed our paper shipments,
right.
which is not a complex process, but it requires a lot of focus on it.
Sure.
Planning all that. We get our paper from Finland,
Right.
so just managing all that. Dealing with a lot of, let's say, she ran a very tight ship.
Sure.
So I think, that's what is just amazing about our company is just very, very good on, running it very lean.
Yeah.
No waste at all.
Correct.
And I believe in one thing, don't spend where your reader or customer can't see the benefit. So we don't have any very fancy offices or stuff like that, but we will spend where he can see the benefit,
Right.
which is in getting a good story or using good paper for a magazine.
Correct.
We don't compromise on things like that.
Yeah. Yeah.
So that's really been the way we've operated.
No, fantastic. Thank you so much, Hormazd uncle, for this time of yours, and really, it's been such a pleasure. Really.
Yeah. Hope it went off
Thank you
well.
so much. It was superb.
Super. Great.